Hi, welcome back to the Stepmoms Without Children podcast. Thank you for coming. Thank you for following. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it, probably more than you know. Today we have an awesome guest. She's very demure, very mindful. Her name is Miss Elisha Lee. She's a licensed counselor, which we love that. We super love that because that's a super job to have. We need people like her. We mentioned some of her offerings outside of, regular one-on-one counseling. She has a book available on Amazon and Audible called The Mental Health Handbook, Strategies for Self-Care and Resilience. If you're looking for her on Amazon or Audible, you're looking for Ms. Elisha Lee, Elishalee. She has a website, ElishaSlee.com, and that will give you, all of her offerings that she has. She has a lot of stuff going on. She has a podcast called Elisha Space. We love her. Please enjoy Elisha Lee. Okay, thank you for joining us, guys. The listeners know because they read it in the caption for this episode, but we have Miss Elisha with us today.
Hi.
And we're going to talk about therapy things.
Wonderful.
So I, as an adult, am not doing therapy, but I pretend based on the internet. But I feel
like, YouTube will take you there.
Okay. So what I've noticed, because I'm a pretend therapist, we're overusing some therapy words on the internet. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
I must be some kind of...
I know, right?
So I just feel like people say things like, oh, I'm traumatized from this. And I'm like, are you? Are you clinically traumatized by the Dunkin' Donuts person not making your coffee right? Is that what happened to you? Or like, oh, I have depression. I'm so depressed. Perhaps are you just sad? And the biggest one, anxiety. Right. That gives me anxiety. Are you scared? Is fear the feeling that you're actually having? And so what I wanted to talk to you about is what these three things actually are, like physiologically. Just because I recently somebody was explaining what depression is. Like, depression is like, how did they say?
A cloud.
Yeah, there's like chemicals in your body. Like the serotonin is like, hey girl, let's cheer you up. And the cortisol is like, later. And then eventually serotonin is like, I'm not even going to try because cortisol is such a bitch. And I don't even want to go there. Mm-hmm. And then, so that's literally, I feel like it's such a weird thing when doctors or therapists or whoever says like, you don't enjoy doing the things that you used to do. Because I just feel like, is that not called being lazy? But no, it's literally the cortisol taking over and being like, don't try to cheer me up. I don't want it.
Okay, so let me go to the depression question. So the depression question is, I would say if you're experiencing sadness over 2 weeks. So usually if it's just sadness, we all have things that go on in our day. And then something makes us sad, right? So that thing that makes us sad doesn't mean you're depressed. You're just sad. Mm-hmm. Depressed is more long term. Like you can't getting up. I'm not to be graphic, but getting up to go use the bathroom is difficult. Right. Getting up to like turn the light on, it's a challenge. Mm-hmm. It's like functioning. Yeah. All you want to do, and it's like an overwhelming sadness. It's not like a sad. It's like an overwhelming sadness. And the sad part about it is, I think about some of the comedians like Robin Williams, who I believe was depressed, or or some of the other individuals I can't think of right now.
Of course, you're under pressure.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't want to say his name, but Twitch. Do you remember Twitch?
Of course, the dancer, yes.
Yes, and everybody was surprised. That's the thing about depression. Most people that experience depression is a lot of times they don't feel like it's okay to be their authentic selves because they feel misunderstood. So they'll wear this mask when the inside they want to crumble.
That's the only way to survive.
Right. The thing is that I was going to mention too, because you started out with the scientific part of this. If it's not treated, if you have prolonged depression, your brain actually start to think being depressed is normal and being happy is unnormal. So if you're noticing that you're experiencing this, it's best to get treatment early, as soon as you're noticing like something's not right. Because the longer you stay in that state, depression can affect you on a cellular level.
Oh my gosh.
And like what you were saying about the serotonin is very true.
That's such a scary thing.
And that's part of the reason why the serotonin is going to be like, I'm going to sit here and, just veg for a minute.
Oh God. Like just even thinking about it and like thinking like, if a listener's hearing this right now and they're like, wait, hold on, that's me. Oh, listener, if what we're describing is you, babe, get some help. Get some help from Elisha. She's a licensed therapist.
Well, there's all kinds of support groups and things like that.
Of course.
The good news is that even like 3 or 4 years ago, I would say pre-COVID, you didn't know about as many resources that's out there, but there are so many resources out there.
So many. Listen, there are maybe it's because my phone AI, the CIA agent in my phone is seeing my symptoms. There's therapy on every single advertisement that I get to.
It seems like it.
BetterHelp is on all the podcasts that I listen to was a commercial on all of them. Obviously, we're under pressure, so can I think of the other ones? Surely can't. But I did see on your website, so I can do a little cheat sheet. There is Therapy for Black Girls.
Right.
We love that you're there. Christian Counselor Directory, Therapy Tribe are some of them. And so congratulations also that you're listed on all of these websites, that you're listed on all of these directories. That's fantastic. We love that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So one thing that you said on your website that I obviously clicked off of that I have to go back to. So I'm inspired by a quote. Like I could read something and like really get influenced. So something that I saw on your website, I think it was on like maybe your most recent episode or something. We inspire to help people move from a place of pain to healing by providing inspiration, hope, encouragement, resources, and healing to the community. Oh, I love that. I read that and I was like, oh, give me that. Can I have some?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, thanks. What a nice lady. And so you're a podcaster. You have a podcast called Elisha's Space Podcast. I found it on Spotify and I see that you set up your subscriptions to get some more exclusive content. And I saw something about a guided meditation.
So I do guided meditations. Do guided meditations. Even if you go on like my Instagrams and if you go on LinkedIn, like, so, the social media places, you'll see that I've done some guided meditations that you can kind of follow just to kind of help you relax. And I also do some educational things too on emotional intelligence and things of that nature. I'm really big on mindfulness and taking a moment to pause, because I feel like we're so busy. We don't take a moment to pause. So when we pause,
right,
it helps us to regroup. So
that makes total sense. And then I saw it's like a group therapy type of vibe, or like maybe seminars, maybe the word.
Yeah, I've done
that I saw you advertising.
Yeah, I've done some seminars and workshops on different topics of depression, anxiety, those types of things. Mindfulness, like I've done some mindfulness groups as well, where we can get together and just be present. I found that the group guided meditations, people get different things like downloaded into them from doing the guided meditations and things like that, and sharing it, as they're comfortable, of course, sharing it with the group. It helps everybody to like go, oh, I feel so much better now.
Yeah, there's definitely some people that are very private, but I think that in a more positive way, misery loves company, like getting help loves company too. like knowing that you're not the only one that feels this way is so like encouraging.
Yes.
So I saw a thing that you offered. I can't find it now. But the thing that stuck out the most is it's free.
Right.
And so you're a wealth of resources because you're offering these things and offering the group mindfulness and you're doing all these things and like it's just a quick little link. You just click on it and you're there. And what a fantastic thing to get people who don't know how to get started. And so maybe somebody who wants something that's more one-on-one eventually, you know, they could look for your services or go through their insurance company for services. But that's just such a wonderful thing to like have an actual resource to just get started with like a healing journey.
Well, I believe that there's different, okay, so talking about the healing journey, we all are at different places in our healing journey. I think it's a constant, continual thing, right? And I don't believe that you'll ever stop going on a healing journey, right? Because there's always going to be something you have to heal from. So I provide different types of resources and different types of mediums so that the reason I do that is because wherever you're at in your healing journey, like maybe you're not ready for therapy or counseling. Maybe all you can handle right now is a podcast episode, right? Or maybe all you can handle right now is a little short 5-minute or 3-minute guided meditation. So whatever it is that or maybe all you can handle is, you know, a periodic workshop or seminar, right? So I try to provide these things out for the community because I recognize that everyone is at a different place. And even though you can't do one thing, maybe you can do something else. And maybe that something else will help you, you know? So, yeah.
That's wonderful. That is so
Thank
wonderful. What's the difference between a licensed therapist and a counselor?
A licensed therapist, a therapist, and a counselor, I think they're all the same, aren't they?
I don't know. On my insurance, when I was like looking for a therapist, it was like, this person's a counselor. This person's like a clinical something.
Oh, I think it has to do with the path of education that people went on, but it's all very similar. So whether you see a licensed therapist, I mean, whatever the ABCs behind the names are, I think what's more important to me, to be quite frank with you, what's more important to me is who you resonate with, you know, because some therapists are a different fit for different people, you know. So, you know, you can have all the alphabets behind your name and you can have all of these things, but if we're not clicking well, then maybe you're not the therapist for me, or maybe you're not the provider for me. Maybe I need to work with somebody who is. So it's very important to have connection with the people you work with, because you're sharing some very personal and private things, and there is a trust that has to exist. And if the trust isn't there, or if you're not comfortable with that person, then you know, then it's probably better to find someone you are more comfortable with. And it is okay to tell, you know, your provider, you know what, I appreciate what we're doing, but I think I want to do this instead. And they'll understand.
Yeah.
You know, they'll understand.
Well, yeah, because they have to know. So I have a friend who I know has like ghosted a therapist, just like, I don't like her. Let's move on to the next one. And I feel like that's a way to do it. But at the same time, you know, being nice and being like, no, thank you. But so is that like a common thing? Like you like see someone once and maybe you guys just don't vibe, or maybe you get somebody who's like, hey, listen, I have been to therapy before, but I didn't vibe with them, and so I'm trying you now.
Again, it has to do with where you're at in your healing journey. So let's say you're seeing someone and you're noticing that you need some support with trauma. And maybe that's not something
Okay.
they're specialized in. Maybe they're only specialized in anxiety, right? Let's say
Okay.
you're wanting someone who's more specific in a particular area, then that makes sense to me to say, hey, I think I'm going to move to somebody who's more specialized in this area. And
Yeah.
most of the time, especially in this field, I found people in
Mm-hmm.
this field to be very, very supportive, and they're happy to
Yeah.
offer you support. So I would guess that the provider that was ghosted by your friend probably knew it was going
Mm-hmm.
in that direction from the counseling sessions anyway. I bet she wasn't surprised.
Yeah. I imagine that. Just because, I mean, everybody has different specialties, which is something I learned through going through the process of looking. Like, there was one lady I saw that she was like a confidence, like she specialized in like confidence or something. And I was like, what a peculiar thing to specialize in. But at the same time, some people just, I don't know, need a cheerleader or something to
Oh,
get
like a
them,
motivational. Maybe she does a lot in motivation. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know. I didn't call
yeah,
her.
I have found
But she's in Maryland too. I remember that.
I have found that quite a few people, they don't think well of themselves, or they have some sort of like they're trying to figure out who they are, you know.
You're talking about me? The listeners know you're talking about
Yeah,
me.
so maybe having someone specialized in motivation can help you realize what you want to be
Hmm.
motivated about, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I come from the land of middle child syndrome and imposter
mhm.
syndrome,
Mhm.
self-diagnosed. And so, yeah, you're talking to me. That's who you're talking to. But it's funny because everybody likes to think that they are so unique and their story is so
Mhm.
different. Are you kidding? The millennials that I know, like, we're all the same. We all think that we're trash. We all think our parents hate us, and they totally don't. And we're not trash, but we think it. And it's just, I don't know, maybe it's the generational curse of or for me, elder millennial. Maybe that's all it is because we all think the same thing. We're all just trying to figure this stuff
I think
out
it's Gen
and also be
X
in this
too, and
place
I
of,
think it's the other generations too. I think it's
yeah,
everybody, honestly, trying to figure all this stuff
yeah,
out and hoping we don't mess up our
yeah.
families and our kids along the way.
Oh, yes, that's a
Right.
big one. That's such a big one because everybody, like, the parents that I know, they're like, whatever it takes to make my kid have a happy
Right.
childhood. And it's like, I mean, but at the same time, do you not want to teach them about sadness and
Mhm.
whatever other negative things that you're so afraid of for your
Right.
kid? I saw a video that said something about like giving your kid a happy childhood will lead them into like being adults with anxiety that can't handle the more negative emotions because they didn't have a lot of
I
it.
could see
They're
why
like,
there's some truth with that. Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like fear. Oh my god, scare. I don't know. What is
Mhm.
this? I don't know. Probably. Let me quit.
Mhm.
Like it's, the well-roundedness of being a
Right.
parent.
Right.
Are you a
I
parent?
am
How many kids do you
3.
have? Oh, love that. Are they grown-ups or are they in high
I
school or
have
like
wow, you just
kids?
like read my mail. So I have twins. There are grown-ups.
I'm a twin.
Yes. And I
Uh-huh.
have a daughter, and she is a teenager. She's in high school.
Oh, is that
With
hard?
her, knock on wood,
Yeah.
it has not been difficult.
I don't Yes. Love that for you. Love that she's not that difficult.
She's been, she's a good girl. I gotta say, she's a good girl.
That's
I mean, I
fantastic.
am noticing
So,
sauciness, but I think that comes from 16. I've never met a 16-year-old that didn't have some
100%.
sauce.
Yeah, she found that on the internet
Absolutely.
for sure. The internet changes
Hmm.
people. I have a friend who has like uh I think she's 9, maybe she's 10. No, she's
Uh-huh.
9. And she's like a cute little, "Hey
Hmm.
auntie." And then online and on her TikTok, she got sauce and I'm like, delete it. Eh, don't And so she in like when she types and when she like texts, like she has a whole different like persona and I'm like, Stop. Because in real life, you're a nice little baby.
I think people become
And so
different
that's
people
like
when they're on the internet.
100%. I mean, I am. I'm a hermit
Hmm.
in real life, and here I am on my podcast.
Right. Right. I
Yeah.
saw that on your social medias.
Yeah, no. Like in the house, I'm like not trying to talk to anybody. I don't know a single one of my neighbors. I'm not interested. But then so last night I went to a
I
comedy
saw.
show in Atlantic
Hmm.
City. Girl,
Fun.
the way that I made
Hmm.
friends, I got like 3 followers on Instagram by like the people that I met. Not three, but I was making friends and I was like shouting things like at the comedy show and like getting noticed. I'm also the one like when I'm on, like I'm walking through the casino, whatever. I see someone with a nice shoe. The bachelorette party girl was there. Oh, congratulations. Oh, have fun. Oh, good luck, girl. Ooh, you're winning. I get in this house and I'm like,
Hmm.
always irritated face on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm so
Hmm.
fake. And then online, obviously, I have the personality, or and it's like it's all part of me. You know what I mean? It's just the difference of being on and not being
Well,
on.
I always, I,
But kids these days
yeah,
being
and I
on.
get that because, like, when I have to do episodes of Elisha Space and I'm tired, I'm like, I really don't want to do this. But you have to kind of like turn it on. It's almost, I don't want to call it a performance, but it kind of is a little bit. You know what I mean?
A little
Yeah.
bit. I was in sales for a long time, and like the mental exhaustion of being on,
Right.
and yeah, and do you want this sofa? And do you want to get the insurance? Like it's the same thing of being on. Like it's the same
Right.
personality of having to perform, but it's also like if you're passionate enough about, in your case, wanting to help people, in my case, wanting to make people
Hmm.
laugh. I don't know if that's my purpose.
Well, I think you just want to,
If you're passionate enough, it comes
yeah,
out.
I think you're someone that like wants to spread joy. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I just want everybody to know that you can be an adult and you can be professional and you can have whatever job you want and you can still be silly.
Yes.
That's literally my message. So if everybody that's been listening for whatever 30 episodes by now, that's my point, guys. I just want you guys to know you can be silly. If you didn't get that in 30 episodes, I'm sorry that I didn't do a good job. Whoa. I just had to announce it. So back
Mhm.
to you. How long have you been, I don't know, what is it called? Practicing? Is
I've
it
had
called
the
that?
practice for about 6 or 7 years. I lose track.
Oh, that's forever. How was COVID during having a business?
So one of the traumas that I work with people is relationship trauma. And
Uh-huh.
that funnels into that space of domestic violence. So I actually
Oh.
had a hybrid office because everyone was sheltered in and people needed a safe
Mm-hmm.
place and they couldn't do it at home because everyone was sheltered in. So I would see
Oh.
clients. Not my entire caseload, but I would see clients at the office,
Right.
so they could have a safe place.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's so important. What a thing I didn't even think
Yeah, because
of.
if you remember around
Like, how
that
are you supposed to
time,
therapy if?
well, this is my world,
Uh
so
huh.
you may not be aware, but around that time, cases for DV increased, or domestic violence, excuse me, had increased, reports of it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
mhm.
Do you know about the book called "It Ends with Us"?
Yeah, I've heard of the book.
So a movie just came out as
Okay.
well, and so it's by Colleen Hoover, she writes
Hmm.
romance. She's like
Hmm.
famous, and so she's dabbled into like psychological thriller type of things. There was a book called Verity that, for the listener, was very good. I highly
Hmm.
recommend. But so It Ends with Us starts off as, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what this book was about. Also, I just got it because I don't. Maybe somebody gifted it to me or something. I don't know. But so it starts, and you think it's going to be the romance that we're so used to, and then me as a person who is proficient in the red flag language, I was like, oh, okay, okay. And it progresses, and it's the story essentially is about domestic violence. And so, and I feel like the movie came out, everybody knows what it's about. And so and this is total sidebar. I want to get back to your practice and what it was like during COVID. So they're advertising this movie, right? And they've never really made a movie. I mean, there was Enough by Jennifer Lopez, which is like one of the best movies
I love that movie.
in my family.
Especially in the end when he was hiding and he was like, he comes up and goes like, dun dun. And I'm like, oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what part like stays in my head? Like I play like on repeat, rent free in my head. When she's leaving him, she goes to the bathroom and she puts a perfume bottle in the toilet seat so that it's like, it sounds like it's dripping out. And that perfume bottle, like at the moment I didn't notice it, but in my mind I can see it. It's a J-Lo perfume bottle.
Stop. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's like the one that's like fat and it goes up, like kind of like a champagne bottle, but like very, very, very small. And what a product placement.
Wow.
Good for her. A businesswoman. Yeah. A businesswoman she is. But rent free. I think about it all the time.
You're going to make me
like
look
when
at
I go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Yeah, I tried to the other day, and you have to like pay. It's like you have to buy it or rent it. Like it's not on streaming for free anywhere. Oh, which is on brand for Jennifer Lopez. She always wants a Zala. So it ends with us. It's weird. So the main character is played by Blake Lively, who is very famous, and everybody's talking about Blake Lively. She's on all, you know, it's a movie. It's a big movie that's coming out. It was, you know, the book was very popular on TikTok, which is what made, you know, the book come into a movie because of it. There's a sequel to the book too. But the guy who's in it, who was also the director, who's the violence man, he's not doing a lot of interviews. And it just seems kind of like it's so new. Like, how do you be like, yeah, I was in this movie. I had a great time playing a bad guy in this movie and beating up my wife. It was fantastic. Like, you know what I mean? And so I just think it's such a peculiar thing because we've never seen it.
Is he like a well-known director though?
No.
Okay. Usually they have their more well-known people go out there and do it though. Unless he goes out with Blake for
he's
stuff.
not.
I talk about her like I know her.
Yeah, no, I've seen them as a group, like everybody in it. I've seen a lot of pictures of them together, but he's not a famous director. I personally only know him from Jane the Virgin.
Oh, okay.
He played the Jane's big dad.
Okay, I know
on
who
Jane
he is
the Virgin.
Okay.
Justin Baldoni. And so I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff, like in movies or anything. Also, the character in my head does not look like him at all. So that's crazy. Casting did that. That's weird. But even like, so there's like a little love triangle with like a past relationship. Like even that guy, like I haven't seen him. I mean, I've seen him on some interviews, but I just feel like maybe they're just doing the girl because she's the most famous person out of everybody. I don't know. So that's a weird thing. And I just thought of it with the domestic violence transition there. But on a more serious.
Okay.
So is that what you specialize in? You said relationships.
Relationship trauma. So domestic violence and as well as other types of abuse, you know, that are familial or relationship, you know, all of those things are qualify as being a trauma. So I help with that. I am a survivor of domestic violence myself. I've been out of my situation for over 20 years. And so I can relate with a lot of people, and I have a wealth of resources and connections to help people that are in the process of wherever you are within that, assisting them and supporting them throughout those things. So.
And so, do people have to live in Maryland to be a patient of yours?
Well, no, not necessarily. I'm part of a organization or a group or cohort or however you want to say it. And I can pretty much see people in anywhere in the States.
We love that. Listeners, if you need this lady, I'm the connect. I'm the plug. Is there anything else that you want to advertise about yourself? Because I want to get your whole self out there.
Of course, I can't remember the name of the book I wrote, but I did write a book. It's called The Mental handbook.
Okay, I saw
Yeah,
this.
it's a list of coping strategies if you're dealing with anxiety so that you can develop your own coping plan. And what I found, audience, about coping plans is that it's okay to be fluid when it comes to your coping plan. So, if it worked, if you were doing some things and it helped you 2 months ago, you can always switch it up and do some other
Okay.
things if that's something you'd like to do. And then I also created a mindfulness coloring book as well. So there's like affirmations within the coloring book, and that's listed on Amazon as well.
That's fantastic. What is the book? How do I find it on Amazon?
It's called
I'm just going to try
Mindful
to type in your.
Affirmation of Forgive.
Mm.
And I can give you the links if you'd like that.
Oh, what a very long name.
Can you
Hold
see
on,
me?
I found you. Oh yeah, I will for sure. I'll put the. Yeah, I can put.
So I'll
I
be
found
doing
your
like
book on
different
Amazon
topics.
too.
This one was like forgiveness and grace. I'll be doing topics on, love and acceptance, you loving yourself, accepting yourself, and there'll be affirmations around that, mindfulness affirmations as you're coloring and stuff like that. So things to help you pause and be still.
What? I have never heard of that, and that's a fantastic idea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's wonderful. A coloring book with the affirmations.
Yes.
I want to get my hands on that. So that's fantastic. But I just found your book on Amazon, the Mental Health Handbook, Strategies for Self-Care and Resilience. Yes. Listen, I just feel like your whole vibe is not domestic violence, but your whole like mindfulness, it's all speaking to me. Also, I don't know if you know this, but mindful is a buzzword these days.
Yes. Well,
mindful, what does she say? Mindful, very demure. I'm not like the other girls. And so look at you getting a jump ahead on the trend talking about mindful. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that so much. I love your website. It's so like clean and the colors are so good. And so I'm not particularly religious, but also for our listener, you're a Christian. And you talk about Christian things on your podcast episode. You also have a lot of podcast episodes. So for anyone who wants to catch up with you and for anybody who is a little religious, they might have met their new therapy friend.
And let me add this about the podcast, because we do topics on faith, hope, and mental health. And so test people's stories, testimonies, if you want to call it that, how they got out of, weird situations. Not every episode is a faith episode. Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Right.
So there's plenty in the catalog to choose from, for different things, if that's what you're looking for.
Oh yeah. You have all kinds of doctors, and my favorite, just because I'm a person of color, a lot of people of color, and we love to see it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the life that I live is catered to white people. As much as I try to add as much diversity as I can to my life and to the people around me's lives. I feel like a lot of people forget that I'm Hispanic a lot too, white passing. And so I love to see that there are people who are not just middle-aged old white guys or middle-aged white ladies that are, or even whatever aged white, and because I feel like I could not go to a therapist that was just like some white girl, even if she was young.
It's interesting you say that, because there are some topics that, because of culture, I don't think some people would understand it, no matter how much education you have. Like, I had someone who was Native American, and they were talking about their challenges, and, they were saying they were having difficulty finding a therapist familiar with Native American, with her tribe's traditions and things of that nature.
Right.
And that's just something, that's what I mean by connection and rapport. That's something you don't learn in school. Like, there's some things that you can probably say to another individual within your ethnicity and they'll get it. right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you say that to someone else, they'll be like, oh, really? That's wonderful. They won't get it.
No, 100%. So this reminded me of just the difference in my friend group. And I've been talking about it on the podcast for months now,
Right.
it feels. We do this thing called the Battle of St. Andrew, just because that's the street that we do it on. And it's basically like a family field day, but like it's mostly just adults. Mm-hmm. And so we had a section that me and my friend thought of. I think they were called like Blackisms or something. And they were basically like the first letter in every word, and you have to like guess what it is. It was a Jeopardy style game.
Sounds like fun.
And so it was so fun, and it was so funny. But like the couple like really, really white people that were there were like, my mom has never said that. It was, that's what the category was. Things that your mom said.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like get your ass in the house before whatever. You know what I mean? Like it was, and some people were like, this is kind of racist. I was like, is it? You know what I mean? And so it's just like, they just like, some people just don't get it. And even it could be Hispanic people and Hispanic people, Black people and Black, that they just don't grow up the same and their parents don't act the same, which is crazy. Because I kind of just
feel like it's culture. Really, you know what I mean? It's just culture.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's, I think that's what's really nice about living in the States too, is that there's so many different diverse cultures.
Oh, it's my favorite thing. When I meet somebody with immigrant parents, I'm like, tell me everything. What do you eat for dinner? What languages do you speak? What do you call your grandma? Tell me everything.
Right.
Yeah. Oh God. I'm glad that that's a thing. I'm glad that I'm not being dismissive by saying that like finding a therapist.
No, I don't.
I would really have to find the right.
I mean, you're on your podcast and you're saying it, but you have to kind of like, I hate to say it this way, but I kind of feel like, I mean, it is what it is though. It's truth. It's our truth. And so if it makes people uncomfortable, I think we have to be comfortable with other people being uncomfortable. That's our truth.
Because for how long were people of color, or still to this day, have to be uncomfortable? Right. Oh, I think this all the time when they have like the star of the movie is an Asian girl or an Asian guy or a black guy or a black girl, and they're like, and it's like, oh, is this not relatable? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Right. Well, even the Little Mermaid, how people were so up in arms about the little, I didn't understand it. I was like, it's not a big deal. Why is what?
An actress is an actress. Right?
As long as she can do the role.
Like, why does it matter? Like, nobody said anything when in Cinderella, Moesha was black and the prince was Asian. No, I mean, they also didn't have the internet. So maybe they were saying something and it didn't get to my ears. Right. But I just feel like, who cares? Like, nobody's really saying anything about all of the Shondaland shows that have interracial relationships, Bridgerton and them.
I think the difference is I think the difference is that we have the internet now, so people can hide behind their keyboards. And the other thing too is it's a fairy tale that's been going on for many, 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 many years. And so people have an idea of what that should look like. And because it didn't fit that idea of what it should look like, they got upset. It's
so ridiculous. But it just like goes to show, like, some people don't like things that are different. And that's really sad, because there are people who are different who have had to live in this world that some people have painted. And it's like, after all this time, you can't just shut the fuck up. On that note, thank you for joining.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. So I guess the last note, because I don't want to leave it on a bed.
Yeah.
So I guess on the last note is I would just wish your audience hope and healing as they move forward with their life. May they just add more joy, have more joy in their life, because I think it's so important to have that.
Yes, and also be mindful and demure.
And laugh at the little things. Laugh. May your days be full of laughter, because it's just not worth it to sweat the small stuff,
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time so much. I really, really do.
Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
How cute was that?
So cute.
I love her. I love her a lot. That was a really, like, listening to, like, while I was doing it, it was, like work mode kind of. I obviously had a very nice time, but it's work mode. And it was like the day after I like went out for the first time, like ever. But now listening to it, I'm like, oh God, she's so cute.
Delightful.
Yes.
I didn't get irritated at all.
We were concise.
Yeah, very.
And I'm going to have like all of her like links and stuff listed in the description of the episode because she has a lot of things going on. And I want everybody to know about it who wants to know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I wrote down, I thought I took more notes.
Uh-huh.
But you were saying how weird it is that the casting department it ends with us.
Oh my God, can we talk about it?
Well, he was the director, right?
Justin Baldoni, yes.
Right. He was also the
leading
man. Do you think he got the director gig first and was like, nobody can beat my wife like me.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's like, this is a character I feel.
I certainly hope not. So here's the thing. I think that because I listen to a lot of like Hollywood people and celebrities like talk about the business, and so
yeah.
I'm actually in the business.
Yeah, no, I know you're a famous podcaster.
Yeah. And so I just feel like he was owed something by somebody, and this could be totally false. I don't know anything about Justin Baldoni besides Jane the Virgin, but like, why of all people? This high-profile movie, why did they give it to him and not, like, somebody famous? And listen, maybe he's a famous actor, a famous director, and I just don't know about it. But I just feel like somebody gave it to him. Like, what is it? What do they say about Ice Spice? She's she's a bot or something. Like, she's a plant. She's a plant that, the higher-ups just put in there just to get ratings and... Like, she doesn't actually matter, and there's, like, not a lot of talent.
Yeah, like Jackson Pollock. Are you familiar with Jackson Pollock?
I'm not.
Jackson Pollock was a famous artist back during the Cold War, and basically what he would do is just get paint cans and lay a canvas out on the floor and just kind of walk around spilling paint and kind of just throwing paint wherever he wanted.
And that was his art.
And he sold these for thousands of dollars.
Good for him.
Well, it turns out that the CIA found out that the Russians were trying to like analyze American culture. So the CIA propped up Jackson Pollock. Nobody would have actually bought his paintings. But it was all like, He
was a Russian spy?
No, he was basically a CIA operative who just produced shitty work, and he got paid for it. But the money was funneled through, like the person buying it got the money to buy it from the fucking CIA.
Oh.
I forget what we were talking about that I made a Jackson Pollock analogy.
I don't know.
Oh, Ice Spice is just there to distract you from something.
Yeah.
That was what Jackson Pollock was. Jackson Pollock was there as a distraction to confuse and infuriate the Russians, and it did.
So I'd like to use this time now to say who actually belonged in It Ends With Us. Okay, so the guy who plays Venom, the Marvel comic book movie.
You look at him and you see an abusive husband?
Listen, starring Tom Hardy. Because the way that they describe him in the book, I haven't watched the movie. We're going to watch the movie this weekend. In the book, they said that, like, he's buff and handsome. And I remember, like, that he, or at least maybe it's just what I took away from it, he wasn't really that tall. And I just feel like Tom Hardy does not look that tall. Oh, it's his birthday on September 15th. He'll be 46.
Wow.
So this is who I think would play the Bay. Oh my god, of course I forget the friggin' names of the people. Who else? Blake Lively, definitely not my choice for the girl. She's not a redhead. In my head, what I pictured was Jackie Oshry, who's a host of a podcast called The Toast.
Okay.
And so we love her. for the friend. Okay, there's this girl from TikTok. Her name, I think, is Ashley Holmes. She's British, and she's so funny, and she, like, obviously, she talks like this, obviously, because she's British. But she does makeup tutorials. She, like, travels. She's a light-skinned black girl from London. Ash Holm. Ash_HOLME. She would play the best friend. And then the guy who they cast as the back in the day boyfriend.
Johnny Knoxville.
It's a guy from the OC. Like Josh Hartnett or something.
I'd like to see Josh Hartnett make a comeback.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would be like young Josh Hartnett. Like, this is who I'm picturing in my head, but...
No, but I think Josh Hartnett... What happened to him, dude? Did he
He's
like...
just old.
Did he show somebody his penis? He was the biggest star...
There were so many.
Back in, like, 2000...
Yeah.
Early, like, the 2000s.
Hold on, because...
Dude, The Faculty is such a good movie.
I don't know about her, but there was an article that came out that was like, this was the YM magazine. Like, it was like a bunch of heartthrobs. Tell me why Jamie Kennedy was a heartthrob in 1994.
He was.
Was he?
Hot as shit.
No. He was old as shit in 1994.
Jamie Kennedy?
Yeah,
He wasn't old in 1994.
He's fucking weird.
He's younger than me.
I don't think that's right. The Jamie Kennedy, like, obviously I remember him in movies from, like, before he did that, like, he was, like, a white gangster looking man.
How old is Jamie Kennedy?
Jamie Kennedy is 54 years old.
Okay. But that's not much older than me.
It's 6 years. That's old.
6 years. That's not...
When you were in 7th grade, he was graduating high school. That's old.
Okay.
All right.
When I was in...
He's my mom's age.
When I was in 8th grade, you were being born.
Okay.
So, 6 years difference is not that big of a difference.
Okay. Agree to disagree.
So, in 1994, he was like 20-ish. That's not old.
I don't know. Of the hotties of the time, he was Nora Hottie or of the time, I feel.
You're just a hater because he's so good looking.
I don't think that's right. He was giving, like, Seth Green. Like, him and Seth Green are, like, celebrity lookalikes.
I think
like
Seth Green's
Isla
pretty
Fisher
hot.
and Amy Adams. They look exactly alike.
Oh, yeah, they're the same.
They're actually the same person.
They are the same person.
Yeah.
She gets 2 paychecks.
She does.
Yeah.
Tricked ya.
She's actually every redhead in Hollywood.
She is.
Yeah. It's just one redhead.
Yeah. Charlene.
Charlene.
The MTV whore. Charlene. The Fighter. Anyone?
Anyone?
Bueller. What else happened in this episode? The moral of the story of this episode is go to therapy. Talk to somebody about your stuff.
You know, be mindful.
Be mindful. Be very demure.
Be present.
Be cutesy.
I mean, a lot of it's just
You're
your own outlook.
Oh, 100%. Positivity breeds positivity.
Yeah.
Negativity breeds negativity.
Hey, nothing, and negativity breeds a lot faster.
Oh.
And
listen, I always say to people, I know Becky likes to make fun of me because I always am concerned about the amount of cortisol in people's bodies, but cortisol's a bitch. I always picture it like a Dementor. Like, you know, when you don't want to go out with your friends. And then you're just like, yeah, no, I just don't want to go out with my friends. And then instead of not going out with your friends, instead of just being home, you stay in the bed. That's literally the Dementor, the cortisol creeping in. And so it's not just I'm not going to go out with my friends.
It's not just cortisol. There's a lot of different. There's a lot of different.
The Dementors of negativity inside your body are just running rampant, and you stay in bed in the dark all day long.
Nothing spreads faster than stinking thinking.
Stinking thinking.
I learned that selling cars.
Oh.
You gotta have.
I thought you were going to say I learned that in therapy. I was like, I can't picture her saying that.
No, I learned that in selling cars.
Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.